A person should never give up. After all, the river flowing from the mountaintop never asks how far away the sea is. Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to tell you a short story about a young man who found his destiny in the least expected place. This young man, named Kale, possessed a passionate heart, but lacked a clear path. After countless days of searching, every door seemed to close before him. In his most desperate moment, Kale remembered an old friend, a respected commander in the royal court. His pride told him not to beg, but necessity pushed him to make the decision. When he met the commander, Kale hesitated. "Can you help me find a position in the palace?" The commander raised an eyebrow, his sharp gaze assessing Kale. "What talents do you possess? Any special skills?" Kale lowered his head. "Sir, I know a little bit about everything, but I don't have any outstanding skills." A wry smile flickered across the commander's lips. "If you have nothing special, how can you find a place here?" After a moment of contemplation, the commander patted Kale's shoulder. "All right, let's go. We'll meet the king." They met the king. The same question was uttered from the majestic throne. Kale, without a hint of hesitation, replied, "Your Majesty, I have no special skills, but I can manage everything. I ensure nothing gets stuck, and everything runs smoothly." The king looked at Kale with curiosity, then gently nodded. "Very well, keep him." Kale got the job, but no specific tasks were assigned to him. He was hired only because the commander recommended him. Every day, Kale came to the palace, doing small errands here and there. Most of the time, he had nothing significant to do. One day, the king suddenly summoned Kale. "There is a distant village at the foot of the mountain," the king said, his voice full of weariness. "They owe us money, but they haven't repaid it yet. Take these papers and collect the money from them." Kale accepted the order, but an idea suddenly sparked in his mind. He asked, his voice calm, "When I return, what should I bring back for you, Your Majesty?" The king laughed, assuming it was just a casual remark. "Bring back anything you think is not already here in this palace." Kale nodded, mounted his horse, and set off. He rode down the mountain to the village. Upon arrival, Kale stood before the villagers, his voice filled with authority. "The king has sent me. It is time for you to repay what you owe." He unrolled the papers and began reading how much each villager owed. The villagers, poor souls, stood silently, their faces downcast, their eyes filled with tears. They had no money to repay the loan. This year's crops had failed, and they barely had enough to eat. They didn't know how to explain this to the young man. Kale looked at their faces, etched with despair, and understood their plight. It was winter, and the villagers had lit a fire to keep warm. He gathered them and said, "Listen, you don't have to repay the king's loan. Forget about it." The villagers were stunned. They couldn't believe what they had heard. "We don't have to pay back the loan? Are you serious?" they asked. Kale nodded. "Yes, you don't have to repay it." But one of the villagers spoke up, his voice trembling. "What about the papers? The papers with our thumbprints. If the king gets those papers, he might send someone else to collect the money." Kale pondered for a moment, then unexpectedly he took the papers and threw them directly into the roaring fire. The papers burned to ashes, and with them, all records of the villagers' debts were gone. The villagers burst into joyous celebration. They couldn't believe their debts were truly forgiven. They danced with happiness and blessed Kale. "You have done something no one else would do for us. May you always be happy and successful." Kale returned to the palace. When he met the king, he said, "The villagers cannot repay the loan. They have no money." The king was furious. "What are you saying? You didn't bring the money back?" Kale calmly replied, "You told me to bring back something that is not already in this palace, so I brought it back." The king was confused. "What did you bring?" Kyle replied, I brought back the prayers, love, and blessings of those villagers. These things are not in the palace, and they are more valuable than any amount of money." The king fell into thought. He said nothing, remaining silent. A few days later, another kingdom attacked. It was a terrible assault, and the king was forced to flee. Kael remained by his side. "I know a place where we can hide. Let's go to the village at the foot of the mountain. The villagers will protect you." Kael sent a message to the villagers, and they welcomed the king and his family with open arms. The villagers cared for them, keeping them safe until the king regained his strength and power. When the king returned to his palace, he realized the true value of the blessings and prayers from the villagers. This story is a reminder that true wealth lies not in material possessions, but in the relationships and goodwill we build through our actions. By selflessly helping others, we earn their love, prayers, and blessings, things that can become our greatest shield in times of adversity. Blessings possess a power that goes beyond what money can buy. They can save lives, restore hope, and create miracles. So, what if Kael had chosen a different path, choosing to obey orders and force the villagers to pay their debts? Could a kingdom built on fear truly withstand the storm? Or is it kindness and empathy that form the strongest foundation for an enduring reign?